episode of GWeek, we get a tour of the new Student Health Services Complex. Get an in-depth look at how students can intern for free under new regulations. And hear from the Black Heritage Celebration on how GW should be commemorating Black History Month. All this and more on GWeek. Welcome to another episode of GWeek. I'm your host, Mariana Sotomayor. We start off this broadcast with a new announcement for all students who are interested in earning internship credit. The price tag just got a whole lot cheaper. The Student Association has made it possible for unpaid interns to pay only $50 for one academic credit. But to earn more, the $1,000 price tag may still apply.
Some laws and internships require students to receive academic credit for their work. At George Washington University, that meant paying $1,300 for a 3-credit class, while the work they're doing is usually unpaid. The Students Association has been lobbying for the past year about the expensive fee for the internships.
Once you commit, it's like you're registering for a class, and if you're trying to drop out of that class, you have to drop out of the class, but you still pay for it, which I thought over the summer the terms might be different, but it wasn't. So it came to August, and I had to have an 8-week unpaid 40-hour-a-week internship, and I got a bill from GW for $4,000.
My parents were really mad because they knew that I had to have a job, but to pay money for it was kind of counterproductive.
Just recently, they announced that the movement was successful and that the students will only have to pay a $50 fee for internship credit. Yet there's a catch. Students will only receive 1 credit, which doesn't count towards graduation.
We were having an issue where, GW was just ranked as the #1 school for internships. A lot of our messaging is about experiential learning and internship accessibility, so we wanted to make sure that our policies reflected our messaging and sort of who we are as an institution.
It's really amazing, this new policy change. It's really going to change a lot of people's lives for the better.
I think that having a not count is also counterproductive. I think maybe just as counterproductive as paying $1,300.
You're going to get something more valuable out of doing this 1 credit rather than getting these 3 credits towards a degree you're just going to do a class for anyway.
The experience is what makes it worth it, and I had a really good experience at both places. Thank God, but if I didn't have a good experience, it wouldn't be worth it.
So I think that the change is great and a really great and strong move from GW, but it's just unfortunate timing in my case because I didn't get to take advantage of it.
Students who were unable to get that internship because they needed credit but couldn't afford it will now be able to rest easy when submitting the next application. Reporting for GWeek, I'm Holly Goldberg.
Stay tuned to see how one student group is celebrating their heritage next.
It's on us to stand up to those who tell us it's not our business.
It's on us
to stop a sexual assault any way we can.
To step in if a friend is doing something that could lead to sexual assault. To create an environment where women feel and are safe.
It's on us not to give our friends a pass. To change the way we talk about women.
To be more than a bystander.
It's on us to look out for someone who has had too much to drink.
To never blame the victim.
I'm a member of the Greek community, and it's on us to end sexual violence.
So George's been doing a pretty good job since he started here, huh?
Yeah, but I don't think he understands Casual Friday yet.
Hey, George.
What's up, George?
Yeah, real presidential.
Academic institution with a fine athletic tradition. Patricio Garino throws it down with 2 hands. Wonderful city. It's a great place to go to school.
Keith and Sandwich open down the right side. Will go and Duncan with his right hand.
Not just the family, it's the whole community.
Armwood Duncan with 1.9 seconds left. Armwood, a thunder slam. 81-80 George Washington. A huge victory for the Colonials.
It may be the end of February, but students can still get involved in commemorating Black history. Here to tell us how is Bryson Roseanne Thomas, who is the Marketing and PR Chair for the Black Heritage Celebration, a student organization here at GW. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, absolutely.
Welcome to the studio.
Of course, thank you for inviting me.
So I was looking at the events that were happening this past month that the BHC has put up for Black History Month, and one of the themes was Redefining Black.
Yes.
Why did the BHC choose that to be the theme, and what was the message that you were trying to get across to students?
Absolutely. I think just to start off with some background, so BHC, Black Heritage Celebration, the committee itself is composed under the Black Student Union and the Multicultural Student Services Center here on campus as well, located on 2127 G Street. And every year, it's up to the committee to kind of decide what theme they want to portray, how they want to engage students. And for us, I think in light of the recent incidents that have been occurring nationwide, we really wanted a theme that would captivate our students. It would engage students. It would also create a new energy for leadership on campus. So there were several things that we were trying to achieve with our theme this year. Most importantly, redefining Black itself. I think the title really speaks to itself, which means breaking boundaries, breaking stereotypes, talking about the issues that make people a little bit uncomfortable, because those are the conversations that we need to have. And I think that being at an institution where the minority is not the majority, it gives us an opportunity to create inclusive conversations for everyone on campus to discuss these issues that are going on.
And I saw that in this past month, you had a good amount of events.
Yes.
One of them particularly caught my eye, and it's called Who Are You When the Cops Show Up? And the description was that, it was meant to encourage students to distinguish themselves from negative stereotypes. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So that was actually our first student programming event of the month, hosted by Ace Magazine, and Who Are You and the Black Student Union as well.
Right.
That event was specifically chosen, I think the title really is very bold.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people were probably expecting to come and discuss, if I'm in a situation with someone from the police force and it's not going well, what do I do? It actually was more engaging first of all, it was a digital symposium, so there was media that was portrayed of different lectures and different speeches to talk about Black identity in society. Right. And really being able to identify yourself. It really is, who are you? I don't even think you need the rest of the title. It's just, who are you when situations like this arise? And I think, like I said, the title itself was very captivating. It was a full house that evening, and we really got to discuss Black identity. And more importantly, even beyond Black identity, maybe you're not a Black individual, but how do you interact with Black individuals? How do you see Blackness in today's society?
Right. And what was some of the reactions that came up from students? Was there any particular frustrations or, anything that they wanted to get addressed to the university or just the students as a whole?
I think, especially for me being a Black male individual, but just being an African American individual as well, everyone has a story, something that they've experienced that isn't the best to discuss. And that really broke the walls for BHC to say, you know what, I've been through this, I've had these experiences, but this month we're really more about being goal-oriented. Okay, you have this story, you have this experience. What can you as a leader, what can you as a student bring into the next generation to do about it based on your experiences, based on who you identify yourself as, and more importantly, who can you impact in the next generation to stop this cycle of racial discrimination and racism and violence, et cetera.
And going off of that, all these events in Ferguson and following, the Eric Gardner case, has the BHC seen maybe an increase in student support or maybe even students kind of trying to find a place to identify with, especially since GW is a lot of students want to show their support and they did protest. So have you seen an increase in any way?
Absolutely. I think the most important thing in the Black community, especially at GW, is mentorship and being a role model. Really inviting other students to take part in the conversation. It's that positive energy, it's that inclusive environment that really makes people want to be part. I think our keynote with Judy Smith really allowed us to captivate on our programming for the month. And we actually, this month, really didn't have as much programming as BHC typically has, but we really wanted to make sure that all of our events really focused on the theme that we were trying to portray. I think in comparison, a lot of BHCs have hosted maybe 11 to 12 events. We had about maybe 8 or 9 this month. And we're fine with that because we're like, as long as the conversation engages someone, as long as a student take something away and can tell someone else, who can tell someone else, who can tell someone else. It's that kind of cyclical effect that will really make change in the future.
Right. And now, pushing the serious issues aside,
Yes.
I did see that there was a lot of events that did celebrate your heritage, very true to your name.
Yes.
You know, some soul dancing or
Yes.
some soul performances, some rhythmic dancing.
Absolutely.
Why is it important to broadcast that to the university?
Well, I think, speaking of energy and speaking of, you know, I guess celebration, it's really important to have a balance of intellectual programming and social programming as well during the month. You want to create an environment of community and togetherness. So through events such as our BHC Day of Service, through the BHC Keynote, and inviting the university to take part in our month of celebration, through Soul Review, which is a cast of 30 students recreating live performances of celebrities and inviting people to be part. You really create that community effect, which is necessary. The month it's not successful unless everyone takes part.
Right.
And more importantly, I think, because, like I've mentioned, I think being a minority on campus, it's important that you allow everyone to take part in the conversation and allow everyone to also be a part of that community and be a part of the social program, the intellectual program, and everything that we have to offer.
Right. And what other events are left for the rest of the semester?
Absolutely. We have a few events. Today we have a Chick-fil-A fundraiser from
nice.
11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We've done a few fundraisers throughout the month, which have really helped support BHC. On Monday, we have Black Ink Showcasing Your Talents, which is hosted by the Multicultural Business Students Association. We're bringing 5 different professionals to really discuss what it's like to be an executive minority in business and Fortune 500 companies. And we also are adding an event on February 26th. It's going to be basically a wrap-up to the month to really allow people to release that anger, release that frustration, and really talk about, here are the legal stipulations of what's going on with these cases today. What is stopping us? What can be done? So that will take place on February 26th in a location to be announced. And then last but not least, we always, at the end of the month, have a BHC finale, which is what I like to call BHC formal.
Nice.
And it's just everyone coming together and having a really good time.
Right.
Tickets are available in the MSSC. It'll be at MXDC, which is a Mexican restaurant right off campus, like right across the street from the White House. Like I said, it's a really great time to see everyone just come together and celebrate after a month long of successful programming.
Right. And now one wrap-up question. You were telling me earlier that you are a senior.
Yes.
What do you hope to see once you're an alumni? What do you want the BHC to stand for, and what do you want the vision to be?
One of my main goals this year was to break boundaries. And I think bringing Judy Smith did that, or started it, not only just for Black Heritage celebrations, but for all heritage celebrations throughout the year. There are about 7 to 8 heritage celebrations throughout the year. Another popular one is Latino Heritage Celebration. I really wanted this to, and I think our committee as well, really wanted for the university to recognize that these conversations are important, especially today. Right. So I'm hoping that the energy and the success that we've created this month through our programming, through our promotion, through fundraising, through just the community togetherness that we've created, will sustain through other successful programming throughout the year. And also another thing, like I mentioned earlier, I think our leadership in the community has seen some ups, it's definitely seen some downs. And I think with events like Soul Review, events like the Keynote, and even just the intellectual programming as well, will really engage freshmen and lower classmen to want to take leadership roles and create successful events like BHC.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank
good
you.
luck with the BHC. You guys are doing a lot of great stuff.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The George Washington University, at the intersection of policy, practice, and research, connecting all that Washington has to offer with an intellectual environment that drives progress, transforming vision into action, offering learning experiences that are rigorous, real-time, and real-world. In a city shaping the future, George Washington is a place where faculty and students don't just study the world, they work to change it.
Records aren't broken on game days. They get broken at 6 a.m., late at night, while the rest of the world sleeps.
Long three-pointer right, free ball from the left side. Three-pointer right side. The long three, yeah! The monumental. What's a three-pointer?
Records are broken, one shot at a time.
Order your tickets today.
Welcome back. And now for the headlines. The class of 2015 will get to hear from Apple CEO Tim Cook at their graduation commencement on the National Mall. His speech will wrap up the weekend of graduation ceremonies on May 17th. Iconic Andy Warhol portraits featuring Queen Elizabeth II and Mao Zedong are just two of the 6 prints now on display in a new exhibit called Luminaries, located at the Brady Art Gallery in the School of Media and Public Affairs. The Warhol prints are just part of the 150 original Polaroids given to GW by the Warhol Foundation, many of which still remain unseen by the public. Students can check out these portraits and those of other famous celebrities for free until April 24th. Actress Laverne Cox, better known as Sophia Bursett on the Netflix hit Orange is the New Black, will be speaking at Lisner Auditorium on March 31st to celebrate International Transgender Day. Cox, who recently became the first openly transgender person to be nominated for an Emmy, will be discussing how race, gender, and class affects trans women of color. For those lucky students who were able to get their hands on a ticket, doors open at 6:30 p.m. There will be significant changes to GW housing next year, which may cause a disappointment to new colonials. The Office of Admissions announced that GW would no longer offer early decision freshmen their first choice residence halls. After a thorough review of the university's admission practices, the National Association of College Admissions Counselors found that the incentive went against their guidelines. The change goes into effect this upcoming school year. On that note, freshmen will now be able to choose Mitchell Hall as an option for their first-year residency. The historically sophomore dorm, located next to Thurston, will now house reportedly 175 to 200 freshmen starting next year. And for those sophomores, they can now list Lafayette Hall, a newly renovated dorm, as a residence option. Stay tuned for more after this break.
So George's been doing a pretty good job since he started here, huh?
Yeah, but I don't think he understands Casual Friday yet.
Hey, George.
What's up, George?
Yeah, real presidential.
Academic institution with a fine athletic tradition. Patricio Garino throws it down with 2 hands. Wonderful city. It's a great place to go to school.
Keith and Savage open down the right side. Will go and Duncan with his right hand.
Not just the family, it's a whole community.
Armwood Duncan with 1.9 seconds left. Armwood, a thunder slam. 81-80 George Washington. A huge victory for the Colonials.
Welcome back. The below freezing temperatures this winter has made many students fall victim to seasonal colds and flus. Thanks to a regulation passed by last year's Student Association, 6 students no longer have to go to K Street to get medical attention. Alana Crennan takes us to the new Student Health Services Department, located on the ground floor of the Marvin Center.
I'm Alana Crennan, and I'm standing outside of the Colonial Student Health Center, newly located in the basement of the Marvin Center. The Health Center, formerly located at 2175 K Street, has moved to a more central spot on campus. The university totally redesigned the bookstore to house the new health center for students. Former 2013-2014 SA President Julia Sassouni initiated the process to move the health center to a more accessible location for students. We asked a few students about their thoughts on the new space.
I remember making appointments at the old one and then it seemed too far, so I just didn't show up. It's right on campus now, so that's really convenient. It's like only 1 block away from the law school. That's where I go.
Students had a positive experience at the new health center.
They're extremely nice. There's one lady right at the desk who greets me every time, really sweetly, and she's always like, "Hi, cutie."
I just came in 10 minutes ago, and I'm done.
I felt, for whatever reason, that the space here was happier in some sense. I don't know why. I mean, pictures of water and things on the walls.
I think it's a great idea. It was like a great intervention. I'm a public health student, so this is ideal for us, and I'm not sure whose idea it was to put it in the Marvin Center, but probably one of the best things that could have happened to GW student life.
The new health center also houses the University Counseling Center, which used to be located at 2033 K Street. The Counseling Center now offers the brand new peer-to-peer support program implemented by current SA President Nick Gumas.
Students who are suffering through a variety of problems for whatever reason may not feel comfortable speaking to a trained professional, like an adult clinician, and may feel more comfortable speaking to a peer about their issues. So the idea is that we provide that resource for students.
The move has made the new Student Health and University Counseling Center more convenient for students to utilize. Information about scheduling appointments and more can be found at studenthealth.gwu.edu or counselingcenter.gwu.edu. Reporting for GWeek, I'm Alana Crennan.
Thanks so much, Alana. I'm sure they're keeping busy. Well, that's the end of our show and my last time behind the anchor desk. I want to thank everyone who has put together this show every single month. Without you guys, it absolutely would not be a reality. And thank you to our viewers for giving me this opportunity to bring you the campus news. Until our next show, check us out on our website at www.gw-tv.com. Thanks again, GW. We'll be seeing you around campus.